Because he wasn't David Bowie. He was David Jones. He was a normal bloke from London who got good at something.
I think at that point in the early 2000s when he wasn't doing very much, he was just hanging out in New York looking after his kid and at night getting a bit drunk. And he'd have rows with people.
About himself?
Mainly about himself. So at one point, there's one bloke who works out that it's Bowie, or decides it is Bowie, and it is actually him, and said, oh, I was once on a bench. I was once on a bench in London, and you were sitting on that bench, and I said hello, and you didn't say hello to me. And Bowie just lays into him and starts saying, yeah, any minute now you'll be saying, I wasn't interested in talking to you because it was when I was shit in the 80s. And I think, this is amazing. This is Bowie losing everything you're talking about. Luckily not on Twitter, so no.
But he did it. He did it. He was very aware of his legacy and what people thought of Tin Machine, and he played with it because he was very aware of himself and where he stood in the world. He was plugged into everything.
You were friends with him though.
He was a mate. Yeah. Ricky was a mate.
And he was just like, and I had to remember that this mate of mine was David Bowie, because he wasn't David Bowie. He was David Jones. He was a normal bloke from London who got good at something. He was an artist who took it seriously, and it's funny because you get over that. And
I've met McCartney quite a bit and hung out with him down the years, and it's not, and he's so makes you feel, he's such a dude, and he's a geezer, and he makes you feel so comfortable, and you're having a joke with him and laugh with him, and it's not until maybe 2 days later where you're flicking through Mojo and you see a picture of him in Revolver and you go, oh, that's the guy I was with.
Of course.
That guy. It's not the, all right, man. It's not that guy. It's this, like, you know, this wizard from the 60s.
It's incredible.
And it's only then that you start getting the goosebumps.
Yeah. I remember when I first met Bowie, I was newly famous. The Office had just been out, and I was invited to one of those VIP things at the BBC. Right? It was me and a few other people, and we saw Bowie, and we're in the green room afterwards, and the then Director General Greg Dyke bounces over to me and says, "Oh, you're a big fan, aren't you, Bowie?" I went, yeah. He went, "Do you want to meet him?" I went, "Oh, really?" He went, "Come on." So me and Jane walking towards him, and on the way he went, Salman Rushdie joins us, right? So we go down and we say hello to Bowie, and he goes, "Hello, Salman." And I go, "I was just eating some salad." And I go, "This is Ricky." It's Jane. "Hello, Jane." "Hello, Ricky." And that was it, right? He didn't know who I was, I'm pretty sure, right? It was funny, the next day in the pub, my mate, Johnny, said, "What'd you do last night?" I went, "Nothing." I was just hanging out with Bowie and Salman Rushdie. Why? Right? So about a week later, out of the blue, I get an email from Bowie. Now, someone had obviously given him the box set of The Office. He must have said, "Who's that little fat bloke?" Right? And he said, "I watched, I laughed, what do I do now?" And we sort of became pen pals. Yeah. And then he invited me to play Madison Square Garden for the first time for a Highline festival. He introduced me, right? And before that, I invited him to be in extras, because I was doing that then. And I don't know if you know the sketch. He sings. So I
little fuck man.
Exactly. So I wrote the lyrics. Yeah. I sent them to Bowie. I called him up. I said, "Have you got the lyrics?" He went, "Yeah." I said, "Give me something like sort of retro, like Life on Mars." He went, "Oh yeah, I'll just knock off a quick fucking Life on Mars." I realised how insulting that was. Just this fucking opus, one of the greatest tunes of all time. Just do that for this sitcom, will you, mate? And he did it, and he just nailed it. And then I remember I went to see him in New York. We went round to his apartment. It was in
give us the address.
Huh? Yeah. No, I nearly did, but I better not. So it was Houston, whatever. And so I go in. There's a little concierge, and he went. I said, "Here." He said, "Oh, you're here for Mr. Jones?"
All right.
I went, "Of course, it's Mr. Jones." Mr. Jones. I went up there, and he was just.
And it turned out it wasn't a bloke called Mr. Jones. It wasn't Bowie at all. It was a terrible mix-up.
Yeah. It was just after his heart attack, and he was just after his.